John, you just we need to cover something really quick. You just said I'm going to turn this down un boquito
Yeah,
with a B.
With a B. I realized that was the case. I think I'm
Um,
mentally dyslexic.
the word is poquito.
I mean, same, but different.
Is it
It's
same,
still
same, but
same.
different?
I feel like it is. I feel like if I say boquito and you knew what I was talking about, I feel like that counts.
And then you revealed to me just now that English was technically your second language.
That's
And
what I mean. I feel like here's the thing. I can mess up my Spanish words a little bit because Spanish was actually my first language. Fun fact.
um I don't know, more information on that, please, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, dude. So spoiler alert. When I was little, my dad had cancer. And so when he was sick, we had a family friend that was like helping take care of us.
Yeah, sorry, I
And
almost just broke a lamp in the middle of this like important story. Go ahead.
So she was Hispanic and she spoke Spanish. And so she was taking care of my sister and I when we were learning to talk. And so we learned Spanish fluently before we ever learned English.
Oh my
So when
gosh.
my mom finally came home and she was like able to spend more time with us, she had a hard time communicating with my sister and I because we kept yelling at her in Spanish and asking for things in Spanish. And she was like, I don't know what you're saying.
That's
And
actually amazing.
That was pretty funny.
For
And then-
a tough story, that's a good story.
That's what I mean. And then we lost it all. And now all I have is boquito, hola, and taco. That's pretty much all I kept. So
How do you say
I already
home?
don't know the answer.
Home. You don't know
Home?
how to say home?
Home? Casa. What's up?
Oh.
Dude, I'm like a walking Rosetta Stone.
You know what's funny is I was thinking of a different word. I was thinking abuelo, and that's grandpa. Whale?
I mean, here's the thing. Whale? Oh, whale is
no. I was just saying well funny.
Oh. I thought you were asking me how to say whale, and I was like, that's a good one. You stumped me there.
Wouldn't know how to say whale either.
Wow.
What about cat?
Oh, gato. You think I wouldn't know how to say cat? You think I'm the host of Kitten of the Week every week, and I wouldn't know how to say cat in Spanish? Is that what you're telling me? Wait, is there a different word for kitten? Is that a thing?
Is it gatito? That's just my guess.
Pequeño gato.
It's probably pequeño. Or is it gato pequeño?
I mean, I feel like it's got to be one of the two, right?
Guys, we know you come here for Spanish lessons. So that's why we're delivering.
I think we're really good at giving people advice that they didn't ask for and
that
talking
they never
about things
wanted.
that we don't talk about normally on this podcast. I feel like we try and stretch out our comfort zone often, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, to be honest.
You guys let us know.
Welcome to the On Our Podcast.
Yeah.
Host On Our Podcast. This is Erica. I'm John. We're so happy to host you today.
And maybe we'll get into another language another day. But for now, we have something serious to get into.
We have many serious things to get into, but is the first thing what I think it is?
I think so. You want to shout it out?
I suddenly realized I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
Oh. Well,
what was it? The Balls Deep question of the day with Erica Shea?
That's it.
I was just making sure, dude. I thought you had more exciting things, but there's nothing more exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you right here. There is nothing more exciting than the Balls Deep question of the day with Erica Shea. I've literally woke up thinking about it. I was like,
no, you didn't.
No, I did. It was Friday. And I was like, you know what Fridays are good for? New Music Friday on Spotify. What's up? Which we have to update our playlist. Our bad. I didn't mean to like get into a negative thing, but the positive thing is my second thought on a Friday is I cannot wait to hear what Balls Deep question of the day Erica Shea is going to bring to us that she's probably already asked before.
Okay. Bo, did you just hear my throat scream?
I honestly did.
That was weird.
I thought that was your in and out internet going in and out. But
no, just my throat.
Just you gargling air.
Yeah, dude, that's all. Today's is a fun one because it involves you picking a number between 1 and 200.
5. The answer's 5.
Okay, that took you a minute. If I don't No, I don't like this one. Pick another.
Okay, here's the thing. We have done this before also.
No, but it's a different list. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And equally that time, I'm pretty sure the first number I said, you said no, pick a new number.
Well, here's what 5 was, and we're not going to answer because it's awful. It's what are your hobbies and how did you get into them? Like, I know you too well for that.
Yeah, that's whack.
Go further down the numbers.
Okay. Let's go 162.
Oh, 162.
Yeah, I already feel it. That's a good one. Bring it.
I'm going to laugh if it's awful, but we're going to do it no matter what.
Okay.
162.
Like Commit.
You're going to scream.
Is it what is your favorite superpower? No, it's not. No, it's
legitimately.
Not. You're
if
lying.
you could have a superpower, what would it be? I literally never opened this document before either. So it's not even like I saw it last week from this page and like
I don't even know what that means. Like,
that mean
we either have to die or buy lotto tickets. I feel like it's either. I don't understand.
I wasn't quite expecting either of those.
Look, dude, my mind is very polar right now. I'm very 0 or 100 on many things these days.
Wow. Why don't we try 105 and see if that, you know,
wait, who's picking the numbers here? You or me?
Sorry. Okay. Why don't you give me another number?
All right. Let's go 200.
Oh, 200. Okay.
200.
Okay.
What are they closing out with? What's the final question they could think of? Because here's
oh my God, we've done this one too. This is the worst. We've done this.
Is this the same list we've done before?
I'm not kidding. I usually come up with them on my own, except for at the very beginning when I started with lists.
What are we doing?
I'm gonna do.
This is a fail.
I'm gonna do.
Fail of the 10.
I'm gonna do 199.
Okay. No,
okay.
I'm gonna do 199. 199, please.
What is your favorite story about yourself?
Wow. Okay. There's one that comes to mind, I think. So in high school.
You think? Like, it literally came to your mind. So, like, you know.
Well, technically, I have to think to know. You know what I mean? Whoa, dude. I am.
There's the balls deepness
today. Yeah, dude. Whoa. I just keep looking at this Bob Marley picture behind me
for some
reason, which I don't know why that's there.
My
I'll ask about
stepbrothers.
that in a minute.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to ask about it now. First of all, pause. Why is there a Bob Marley picture in your background? I need to know.
At home
like to tell me.
My hometown. No, I'm in my hometown. And I'm at my dad and stepmom's house, and this is my stepbrother's room. He went away to college, but he's a Bob Marley dude.
Quick question.
Quick answer.
I mean, you already know it's coming. Does he blaze?
Oh, for sure. He got in trouble for that so much in high school.
No.
Yeah.
Can you still get in trouble for that these days?
I mean, like, he got in trouble from my parents for that.
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
that's worse for sure.
Because he was like, 16 and 17.
Yeah, what's the school gonna do? Expel you? You know?
I mean, I think it's like the same as trying to drink alcohol on campus if the school knows.
Yeah, that's probably true. Don't you have to be 21 to smoke weed?
What?
I don't smoke weed, to be honest.
I think
I don't really like it.
I don't know. I thought it was 18, but I could be making that up.
I have no idea. No
Me
clue.
either.
Anyway. What was the question? My favorite story about myself.
Yeah.
I probably have a couple. But I feel like the first one that comes to mind would be a story from high school. So in high school, I used to, like you, be like the spirit commissioner. You know what I mean? I would run all the assemblies and I'd be on the mic and stuff. And during some of the lunchtime activities, there was this table there and there was this kid that always sat there. And you could tell like, he was very socially awkward and he didn't get along with all of the other kids and he sat alone a lot. And I'd always make sure to include him. Like just in all the games I was playing, I'd shout him out sometimes just because I could tell that he didn't have a lot of friends. And when I went to high school, I was shy originally. And the guy who was the host of all the assemblies then brought me up on stage and he kind of did that for me. So I feel like, I don't know, it's just kind of what I wanted to do to make as many people feel included as possible.
Yes.
So anyways, my senior year, this kid was in the same grade as me. He was definitely on the scale somewhere. And he was like in special classes and kind of stuff like that. And he wrote this letter to the school. And he basically said, thank you so much for hosting me. It was an extremely rough time at your school. I almost didn't make it. I almost felt like sometime my life was over, but I could always count on my best friend, John Camucci, to always make me feel cool. And I was like, it made my entire year. It made my entire year.
I'm gonna cry.
I was like shocked. I was like, dude, I love that. I love that so much. Like I never hung out with this kid, you know what I mean? But like I just would go out of my way when it was possible. And I don't know.
It's like
it just
proof
made
that if you
feel,
do that, it matters.
Exactly. And it was cool to see it matter and cool to see someone actually care about it. Because I just thought, it was nothing. So
also you wonder, like in that situation, like, am I annoying him? Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm self-conscious about that a lot, like I talk to a lot of people that probably don't want to talk to me often.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Erica,
that's really
I believe
sweet.
This is your turn.
Mine's like not sweet at all, but it's just like the most, it's probably not my favorite story about me. It's just probably the most told story about me.
Okay. I already love it.
I was 16 or 17. So I was like late in high school and my best friend, Katie, much more adventurous than I am.
Wow.
But we'd go
shocked.
to what?
I said already shocked. You seem pretty adventurous.
Not like outdoorsy.
Okay, we're talking literally outdoor adventure. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So I would always go to her house and I had this like cute pink cruiser bike and we'd throw it in my mom's car and like take it to her house. Sometimes I'd leave it there for like 2 weeks because I always knew I'd go there and like ride my bike.
Right.
And we are riding our bikes one day. We're going on a picnic and she lived on this like big hill. You can see where this is gonna go.
I'm already pumped.
She lived on this like humongous hill. Like looking at it now, I'm like, I would never ever ride my bike down that. But whatever, we did it all the time. So
nice.
We like packed up our picnic. I got on my cruiser. She got on her bike, and we're going down the hill. And all of a sudden, she screams to me, "Turn!" So now I realize I need to turn in the middle of the hill, like onto a street.
No,
I didn't turn quite hard enough, and my bike went probably 3/4 full speed into a curb. I went over the handlebars into a hedge. There was a fence on the other side of the hedge.
No.
And I had like a little wicker basket on the front of my bike, and it
you got
crumbled.
Brain damage.
What? And I got brain damage?
Yeah, is that where the story is going? Because it would make sense.
I was wearing a helmet.
Nice.
So I didn't get brain damage. But
look at this safety first story.
I know. That is also part of why it explains me so well, is because I'm such a good, like, safety first and also like clumsy AF. And yeah, so I like crumbled the basket on my bike, but otherwise I kind of shook myself off and like came out from the hedge and was like, that didn't feel good. And then we finished and went on our picnic, and I called my mom later and said, I had an accident today.
So wait, first of all, no tears.
I probably cried a little.
Okay.
I love that. You came out of the hedge like,
wait, tough. So this is the story most told about you.
Yes. My mom loves to tell people this story.
That's what I mean. I wonder what story would be most told about me. I think there are certain stories I'm more proud of than others in certain situations, you know? Like
right.
Like if you had to tell a story at your funeral, like, is that the story you would probably tell?
I hope that there's more in the future.
I feel like I bring up funerals a lot in this podcast.
You do, and it's so creepy.
I mean, death is certain. We are all going to die.
John, we're not doing this today.
Hopefully not for a long time, you know? Time. I'm not trying to die. I'm just saying, you know? The more we get comfortable with it now, the less it will surprise you later.
I also think that probably the thing that will be told at my funeral is like how intense I was as a child. Like I would throw tantrums if I had to leave my friends' houses, and like I would chase my sisters around and like claw them. So like that's probably, it's like, and that's how she was her whole life, you know?
I mean, that pretty much sounds like it. I feel like you would do that if it were, you know, socially acceptable these days.
Right. If it was like more chill.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know what yours would be?
I don't. I think it just depends on who's telling the story, because I feel like different people have much different sides of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is so interesting. I feel like everyone gets the same version of me.
I feel that. I feel that 100%.
Yeah. We have a guest today who is actually in our Zoom waiting room as we speak.
Oh, is he? I was going to say, should we get started without him, or?
No, we should admit him in. Should we just let him intro himself?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to admit him in. I'm just laughing at us, staring at each other in silence while he's trying to connect. Can you hear us?
I don't know if he can hear us yet.
There we go. I can hear you guys now.
Now we can. Okay, cool. Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So we literally we're just going to use this, I think, as your intro.
Dive right into it.
Yeah, we're just going to go for it.
Awesome.
But we realized we're like, we should let him intro himself. Like, who are you? Mostly that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Brendan Peach. I was an intern for iHeartMedia my fall semester in 2017 for Cal State Fullerton. Graduated from there in 2018 with radio, TV, film. And then a year later got employed by TMZ, so now I'm a production assistant over there.
Oh, so cool.
Oh my God.
I didn't even know that. That adds another layer.
Yeah,
I have so many questions about that, but okay. John,
so the cool thing about this is, so Brendan's our guest for this week, and neither Erica nor I have ever actually spoken to Brendan. I think we met him for the first time over Instagram about a week ago. I knew of him because you're on a podcast with Randy, who's been on our podcast as well.
Oh, yeah.
So he reached out to us.
Been on.
Yeah, Randy's been on, right?
I know, yeah.
Crazy. So we've had them both on now.
Yeah.
So he does a podcast with Randy, and he reached out to me the other week, just like asking about, I guess, career stuff on how to advance in radio. And I just I learned so many exciting things about him that I was like, I would love to have him as a guest. So I think it's kind of cool that you're just on this podcast, and that's literally us meeting you for the first time.
Yeah.
So pleasure to meet you, dude. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Of course. Yeah. The funny story with Randy is I actually first got the chance to meet him when I was in the restroom at iHeartMedia, and you guys can't see it, but I'm actually 6'9". So my head's above the stall.
What? Yep. So, yeah, it is.
So Randy saw me for the first time above the stall, just a floating head, and then talked to me through that. And then
that's hilarious. My first time meeting Randy, he taught me how to use one of the coffee machines at iHeart. So
perfect.
He doesn't even remember that.
No.
No, he's very forgetful.
I don't know why my memory makes me sound real creepy all the time.
So
Same here.
I'm going to start with what's it like to be 6'9"? Because that is a dream for me.
Yeah,
dude.
John really wants to know.
Come on.
So I mean, it has its up and downs. I would say for most recently, it was tough to try to find a new car for myself. I was car shopping, and so that was tough because a lot of people are suggesting these like budgeted options, of course, and I can't fit in Toyota Camry without looking like Mr. Incredible from the movie. So
yes,
your knees up at your elbows.
Yeah. So I mean, what I got most recently was a Santa Fe, luckily, and it's quite roomy in there, and people can actually sit behind me. So it's
great.
It's that sort of thing. But when I used to work at a Knott's Berry Farm, it was impossible to ride Accelerator because the height limit was 6'5".
No.
So yeah, I've never ridden Accelerator in my life. Yeah.
Awful ride, just horrifying.
Wait, I love Accelerator. Are you kidding?
Well, of course you do, but I don't. Okay. Well, it's so scary.
I mean, I would ask Brendan to be our tiebreaker here, but he's just never going to be that guy for us now. So
I guess I win. It's the worst ride. Did you play sports like growing up? Because did you play basketball specifically?
How many people ask you this, first of all?
Yeah.
Is this everyone's first question?
Everyone asks me if I ever played basketball. I jokingly just tell them I was a horse jockey, and they automatically just get so confused. But yeah, of course, I played basketball. And I played all throughout high school, then got the chance to play for Fullerton Junior College my first freshman year.
Okay.
And it's kind of crazy because once you get to that level, you actually meet guys who are the same height as you and taller. So it's kind of like when Shrek meets all the other ogres. Like it's like, oh wow, they're actually real. So
oh my gosh.
I got to Cyprus my second year, and then kind of had like this whole thing where it's like, transfer over there, whole bunch of systematic problems with that. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to finish my schooling. So I just played halfway through college and played volleyball for a year. But yeah, basketball is my main sport besides growing up playing baseball.
Yeah.
I also didn't even know you went to Cal State Fullerton. That's crazy. We went to the same school.
I know. I saw that. Yeah. There we go. Titan alumni.
Wow.
Dude, so much in common with this guy already.
You guys are just, except for the height.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, no, fine. No, it's cool. Thanks.
There's a whole foot difference, no?
Dude, I think there is. Wait, you said you're 6'9"?
6'9", yeah.
You are legitimately exactly a foot taller than me. That's unreal. You could put a ruler on top of my head, and it would literally go all the way to the top of yours. That's unreal. That shouldn't be the case. Humans should not be that different as people,
Uh-huh.
Totally. I mean, I think it's fine. Don't make him feel bad, John. He's our guest.
No. I mean, I'm jealous because I feel like festivals for you must be the best experience ever. Like you could stand anywhere you want and you'll see the stage.
Yeah, the most recent concert, I stood up and the lady behind me like explicitly said like, "Oh my goodness!" Like she was so mad she like has to stand right behind me. I let her go in front of me, of course, but yeah, it's kind of a nuisance for everyone else to sit behind me. But I have a great time.
Yeah, but okay. So tell us more about. I guess I don't know how much you can say about working at TMZ.
It's tough.
What do you do?
So it's production assistant is like a loose term for kind of like you help them out with the live show, get stuff ready for that. You help Harvey get his coffee in the morning, sort of duties like that.
Yeah.
Because they're always so busy over there that like right now, especially with this whole pandemic going on, we're just sending in articles throughout the day, kind of seeing what's breaking, what's going to be popping up on social media way before anyone else really sees it.
Yeah.
So you just have to be on top of everything.
Wow. That's like.
Are you working from home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Currently working from home.
So no more coffee runs.
No more coffee runs. No.
That's the bright side of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Wow. Think about all the assistants out there who are not having to do coffee runs.
No, think about the people who used to send someone to do their coffee and can no longer do that. Dude.
Bummer. I'm neither of those people, so I don't really feel the difference there. But but I wish I had someone who got me coffee every day. Actually, my dad got me coffee today, so he's my assistant now.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Brendan, is like it's kind of the reason you reached out to me. And with COVID going on, we're kind of seeing all over the place that entertainment is a very hard industry to be in. We've all kind of experienced it to some degree. I know you said you interned at iHeart, and at iHeartMedia, they've pretty much gotten rid of entire departments. And those would sometimes be departments that would first get your foot in the door when it comes to radio. So I guess my question to you is, what exactly do you want to do? And what's the struggle been like since COVID started?
Honestly, it's mostly just on air. I know it's a long shot. Eventually, I would love to be on air. It's a dream for everybody, especially when it comes to radio, that obviously you have to start small. And I've heard all the stories of like when I was an intern for LNK, she started small as a station in Indiana and worked her way up over there. So I've been applying nonstop, like out of state, in California, anywhere it's open, really, with any position posted most recently. And It's been a struggle, I would say, because even when I was at TMZ in the office, I was always trying to like get back into radio because TMZ I thought was going to be like the main source of like a full-time position. But reality, I had to balance that with my In-N-Out Burger job and kind of work both at the same time.
Yeah, I know. Working the 2 jobs thing. I was a part-time phone screener for the Seacrest show and then also nannying when I was part-time, and that was very exhausting. Is the easy, like and John knows, John had 2 jobs for a long time, and you just like at some point you're like, how do I have a life, and like where do I go from here? So I got really lucky, and just there ended up being a position that was full-time with our show, and so I didn't have to move around. But the reality of like everyone is like, yeah, you kind of have to move somewhere random in radio, and you're like, okay, so like, is that what I want to do then? Like, would I rather move or would I rather do something else?
And I think the problem that I always had, because like, again, I'm still like starting out and I'm looking to, you know, build my ladder as well. But the thing a lot of people said was, A, it's hard work. And then B, it really is luck. And that was like the hardest thing for me to hear. Because I was like, what do you mean it's like luck? You know what I mean? What if I don't have luck? You tell me I'm like never going to do what I want to do simply because of luck. And like, it kind of happens to be that way a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I think even the only reason I've had as much personal success as I'm happy with now is like a lot to do with luck. You know what I mean? And that's like hard because those opportunities just aren't really there during this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as I'm thinking of it as like, you know, there's obstacles in the way when it comes to this sort of thing. Like, obviously we're in something that's never really been seen before, but I just got to stick through it. And we all have to like stick through it and kind of just keep doing what we're doing and realize that like the positive sides too, where like I'm still working 2 jobs while people are working 0 and staying at home.
Huge. Yeah.
No,
I mean, you definitely have the voice for radio, you know, like I wish I had that deep voice, you know what I mean? That's like, you're tall, you got a deep voice. Like,
John's just really jealous. He brought you here to let you know.
Yeah, it's that's what people say in the drive-through In-N-Out. Like, I'll often do like this like sort of radio presence at the drive-through at my store, and they're kind of like, whoa, like this is almost like an answering machine pretty much. Like, hi, how are you? Like that sort of thing. But I'll do like funny impressions too. Like, I can do Patrick Star very well, and that's like the biggest.
No way.
Sorry, right now we need that.
Where's the leak, man?
Wow, that's a really good Patrick Star. Are you sure you aren't him?
No, I wish, but it's funny because he's also a tall guy too. He's like 6'5" and like blonde, and the exact same thing. And so,
no way.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So tell us a little bit about the podcast that you're doing. I understand you said it was on a break, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, Randy's schedule is so packed with school and all the podcasts he does. And for me, it was kind of like I'm going through some tough stuff right now mentally and all that stuff. So we're both kind of just saying we need to take a break from it. We just reached about 20 episodes. It's about video games and gaming culture and all of that. And we would try to vary topics from like top 5 protagonists in games, top 5 villains. You know, luckily we got the chance to interview Adam Brennecke. He's the gaming director from Obsidian. He created the game Grounded. So that was our major interview. We also got to do the recruiter for Activision. So
wow.
Yeah.
And what was the name of it?
I Call Next.
I Call Next podcast. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been like recently, okay, not recently, but before the past couple of weeks, because I've like, you know, been struggling through some mental things too, which we'll get into in a second. But before that, I was really trying to amp up our podcast social media. And every single time I did that, I literally went to your guys's, I didn't know who ran the account, but I went to your podcast account because the way you've branded your Instagram page is so good.
Now
like,
I need to look.
So good. I was like, I'm telling you, it's awesome. Like they have the colors that they use. I think the topics that you come up with, you still post actual like news headlines on your feed, and you just found a way to keep it up to date and keep it fun and engaging. I am not even the hugest gamer, but I found myself interested in your posts.
And that's what we try to do, is that we actually came up with the format through Adobe Spark, and Randy kind of got me access through it. And then he taught me how to use it. And then I was the one constantly posting the breaking news articles and kind of seeing what was breaking out there in the gaming industry. I was learning a lot from doing so too. And like kind of Photoshop, because I've never used any of that stuff before. So I was just adding on random things, pictures, and then putting hashtags and learning from Randy as well as other people who run social media.
Well, it was awesome, man. I mean, I was definitely learning from you guys.
Running like your own account for something like that is such a great way to learn. And like, I wish I did more with it. I just don't. I let John do it. But I feel like you're like giving yourself a crash course in like becoming a social media manager, which, you know, someday down the line could be a job that any of us could do just based on our experience. And having those skills, also it does look great. It just looked, but like having those skills are so important. And also knowing like optimizing from hashtags and everything. I hate how much our world revolves around social media, but it's also really important.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how like I was thinking it was growing slowly because we only got like 260 followers or something like that, and I like, looked at the analytics of it and it says like you gain about certain this many followers throughout this certain time and like this demographic. Found out we had listeners all throughout the world. It was kind of weird how like it just happens that way.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, I mean, one of the other things, I feel like we talked a lot within a span of like 30 minutes when you first DM me because I just connected with you on so many things.
Yeah. John was like, we got to get this guy on. I know all this stuff about his life. And I was like, oh my God, how did this happen so fast?
It literally happened out of nowhere. I was just like, dude, I've never met this guy and I love him now. We got to get him on the podcast. But like you had told me that you recently are going through a split from your girlfriend.
Yeah, unfortunately, she was the one that was the social media manager. She actually is for a cosmetic company. So she was the one that was like always giving me tips and all of that. And obviously, like, unfortunately, I'd say, but like now 2 weeks ago, she kind of said we need this relationship to be on pause because a lot of stuff going on in her life mixed with like my chronic like anxiety pretty much of like what's going on, what is she doing? Like my mind was just like kind of racing towards that whole thing, where it was making her anxiety go up and I was not being a positivity in her life. I was being a negative aspect of her life. So she had to like kind of like push me away sort of thing.
And that's huge for you to be able to see already. You know what I mean? I feel like, and I guess my first question to you is, do you think that's something you could have realized together, or do you think you needed space to be able to figure that out?
I needed space because like obviously I've been talking to like a therapist about it. I've been talking to like my parents about it. And so, yeah, there we go.
I love therapy.
I actually started it because of her, because, you know, she was the one who suggested it to me. I was going through so much in my own head through like a dark, deep place. Whereas like I was now seeing like, and I started seeing the positive sides rather than negatives on my own. Yeah. So I've been hearing the lesson of like developing myself as an individual, because I've always based myself off of like, when I played basketball, like I tried being like Shaq, I tried being like Karl Malone, like all these famous top athletes that are not me. When like I have to be my own person.
Right.
Wow. That's just like, that's such a great, I can't even speak because I'm so excited about it. That's a great lesson to take like anywhere in your life.
Yeah.
Like, being an individual without a partner, or, you know, in like a co-working experience, or like a team situation, or in your family, like there's so many times where that's relevant.
And so it's funny that like when I built this together with her, obviously like she even pointed it out too explicitly that like she was having her problems and she was trying to lean on me, but then I would turn it around and basically like voice my problems and worry about my problems more than hers. So it needs to be like two pieces of the puzzle that work together in order to make it last for a while.
Truth, right there.
Now, is this something you hope like rekindles in the future? Like, is this space with at least the hope or intent of hopefully coming back together at some point?
Obviously, yeah, I feel like she was definitely the one, but unfortunately, ever since we've talked on Instagram, that one time, the relationship status was deleted off social media. Instagram pictures were deleted. So it's kind of like a slow burn of the Band-Aid, where like, obviously she's doing it for herself, but then also like I was constantly checking it every 30 minutes throughout the day of like, we're still together, and like, you know, that whole thing.
Huge.
And we also had our Spotify playlist deleted last night. And so I was just kind of like, you know, that's like the biggest thing is like when stuff like that through social media happens. I even tell my parents too, like, I wish it was like back when they dated, because you didn't have that. You just didn't talk to one another.
Right. Yeah. There weren't constant reminders and those things. It's like deleting more of your life little by little. You know what I mean? And
John,
that's simply what I've been going through. What's that?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's the social media status with you guys?
See, I feel like that's exactly what I was getting into. Is we're basically doing the same thing, you know, over this last weekend, we've kind of realized that it's difficult to try and separate, but keep a good relationship, because then you're watching the other person be single. And that's hard. You know, it's hard to watch someone hang out with people that maybe you don't know, or do things that are not in their normal character, or just like kind of watch them live life without you, doing things that you would be doing with them. And that's kind of hard when you're not together, no matter what your relationship status is. So I think we've been talking less because of it. I think we've been talking less. We decided the last week that we're going to have to take some more distance apart, and it's been hard. She recently over this weekend started taking down a lot of the pictures on social media too. You know, she left up a couple, but I was probably half her feed, and now I'm a good 2 pictures. You know what I mean? So, but it happened 2 weeks before that. And as you think you're making progress, you start to see stuff like that, and you're like, it hurts all over again. You know what I mean? It's like ups and downs. Like you're doing well for a couple of days or for a couple hours, and you're like, okay, I really think that I'm feeling positive. We can get through this. And then, you know, something just happens that takes you back to a place where you're like, man, like, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
It's funny because you got to think of yourself like you got to think positively about this whole situation because like obviously you're going down the right path. You know, you're doing the whole thing with yourself, and you have to grow within yourself in order to be like ready for that next person or possibly her to come back, sort of thing. And that's what I realized too, is that I was becoming like this like adaptive lifestyle of like immediately at 5 o'clock she was off work and I was off to her place, and I wasn't doing anything throughout the entire day for myself. Meanwhile, now I'm doing like these long distance runs to try to cope with it, trying to do like hikes and all that, and trying to like apply for jobs throughout the day, get stuff together around here, because I started valuing her more than anything else, and then I did value the true stuff before I value that person, you know.
And I think that's one of the largest serious relationship killers. You know, like I've had to learn that lesson before too, you know what I mean, in doing something else. And I feel like it always scared me because I didn't want to learn that lesson by being apart from someone. But sometimes I think the only way you can learn that lesson to be yourself is to actually be on your own.
Oh, yeah.
For at least some amount of time. And that was like the hardest thing for me to accept in a past relationship when I remember going through that same exact thing. How many serious relationships have you been in?
Me, it's been about, say, only really like 2 or 3, because there was one for a few months. It didn't really work out. She was just too busy. The first one was the major heartbreak one. That was kind of like a huge thing. And the funny story with that is that like it was 2 years of us dating, and there was a whole story that I kind of told on the Woody Show pretty much. I sent it as a story to them. And that's when Randy helped me out, because I sent her flowers after her dad passed away. And she ended up sending me a text saying, like, you could have saved us the turmoil and kept that to yourself. You know, like this evil text. Oh. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely know she's not the one anymore. And I kind of just deleted everything. So that's like, it kind of opens your eyes sometimes and you lean back sort of.
Totally.
So.
Sometimes it's easier when you can just dislike the person. Or it's always easier, actually, if you can just dislike the person. But
it's hard initially because the cut is a little bit deeper.
Yeah, you're like, how dare you? I mean, clearly, I've been through that. John knows.
But it heals faster.
Yeah, it heals a lot faster.
I'm such like a person that cares about like the way others think about me. Pretty much, unfortunately, I always think about like what like her and her friends thought about me. So when I think she told all of her friends, she told her best friend, she told her cousin, she told everybody that we kind of like partially broken up, partially on pause. I don't even know, but. 2 of her friends blocked me on Instagram. Another one, her cousin unfollowed me. And I'm like, what
blocked?
did I do? Yeah, just full on blocked me.
That's
like,
intense.
But they're kind of like in their own ways who they are as a person. They're just trying to defend their best friend they've known for so many years. So they haven't really experienced it, because one of them was never in a relationship in her entire life. So she doesn't really know until she gets to that. But at the same time, it's kind of good to really focus on myself without having the pressure of like they're watching me post on social media. So
do you think it's maybe a thing where maybe like if they post about her, they don't have to worry about what she would or would not be comfortable with you seeing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I muted her as of right now on social media posts. I really don't want to see what she's doing, and so I didn't want to unfollow her, of course, because obviously that's just kind of a huge it's a petty thing. So I think she muted me as well, but we're just kind of like needing to focus on what I've done, and of course, getting the car was the first objective. So I've set other goals to, in the meantime, work on that, so that way when I come back, eventually it's going to be me with this list of goals that I've completed.
So, I mean,
that's amazing.
Just connecting with you for a minute, like I feel like I'm in a very, very, very similar place that you're in right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you can hopefully relate to this too, is like, what are you doing when you feel most unmotivated? Because it's hard to care about anything when like you feel like the biggest part that you cared about most is no longer in the picture, and you're finding other places to care about something more, but it's hard to find the reason to care about it more than that, you know?
So it's pretty funny. So she was actually very religious and kind of got me into that. And then she also got me into valuing family and friends over all the, like valuing her and all that. So one of my very close friends named Connor, he's going through the exact same thing I am, where like his relationship lasted for 3 years. So his is a lot more painful, but of course he is handling his the same way I'm handling mine. We're both trying to send each other inspirational videos on YouTube that we often see. And there's motivational speakers all the time that we listen to, with like the dramatic music and like Les Brown, David Goggins, you know, all these guys that like, even like I watched that scene from Rocky where it says nothing hits as hard as life. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's what you got to live by. And so that's what's kind of like, just wake up with that positive attitude, get out there with an objective and get it done.
I love that.
Yeah,
me too.
That's what you got to do.
It's rare that, and I don't want to like generalize, I'm sorry, John and other men, but I feel like it's rare for men to usually be able to like really dig down deep and be like, okay, what do we got to do here? You know? And so like being able to hear you say that, I'm like, oh, thank God. Like people listen to it. My God.
Yeah, it's a great ad. Oh, so it's funny because not trying to like diminish this, but she was like a social drinker too. She like relied on her friends, and she drank. I never drank or smoked anything my entire life. So obviously, I'm going through this in expert mode of like, like trying to.
In your entire life.
In my entire life,
you feel incredible all the time.
So it's just so funny that like people are shocked often to hear that because they see me with like the group of friends I hang out with. They're like, oh, obviously this guy does this, and I'm like, no, just something I've never really been wanting to get into. And so that's what it's funny because I feel like she sort of has like a little scapegoat. Meanwhile, I have to like sort of like sit here and feel anxious and kind of like relieve the anxiety, not try to take like pills for it or anything because that's going to mess everything up. But
I mean, that's for sure expert mode. I'm not even going to lie. Like the first week this was happening to me, like Jack Daniels was like a nightly routine, you know, like I wasn't drinking myself to sleep, but like, you know, I needed something to deal with it. And I think that just comes from not facing it head on. And that's something I admire about you, because at some point, if you're going to get over a dark time or a loss or whatever it's going to be, I truly do believe that if you are going to, you know, drink or have a night to use as a scapegoat, that's only delaying the process. Like you will never actually get over it until you've dealt with it head on. Yeah. So if you need a couple of nights to, you know, go out and use whatever you need to use, that's fine, but you're only delaying your process a few days. You know what I mean?
Also, alcohol is a depressant.
So. But for sure it is. Like, it doesn't make it better.
There's also,
you know?
no, but I'm like, also like over time, it can like make you more sad just generally.
Totally.
Just beware.
So I do think that, yeah, I was just going to say that's going to make sure, like, that's going to put you on the best, soonest track to really being healed wholly.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like the best thing to do is try to like develop like, I know what, like you usually work in the morning, do you, John? Or do you work like early in the morning?
Yeah. Yes. Fairly early.
So John, it's 6 a.m. Yes, it's very early. Stop.
So like most recently, I've been like challenging myself to be like those like Navy SEALs guys I see do inspirational videos. So I'm gonna wake up like at 4 a.m. and go for a run just on my own. Like just because that gives you that like Mamba mentality pretty much of like get up, get after it, just go.
I got this.
And then so that's why like when you think about it too, like they're sleeping and not making progress. You're the one that's doing it when they can't see.
Right. Oh. I've found that, first of all, I would love to do that. I can't.
I would like to encourage you to just do anything after. Go work out after work, John.
I know, and that's what I'm doing now. I've noticed this about myself. Like, I have found that when I encounter in my life a dark time or something serious that I'm going through or something that really just kind of gets to me on the inside, I allot myself a finite time to, for lack of a better word, spiral. And it's like, it's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to die or anything, but I give myself an amount of time to really feel it, to really soak in it, and to really just experience all the hurt that I need to feel. Because I feel like if I don't do that, then I'm brushing it under the rug. But I think my key point is I have to give myself a limit. So during this time, I gave myself a week. I was like, I'm going to take a week to not sleep, to really go out in the middle of the night and find a random street and just sit there and think and like do all those crazy things, and give myself 1 week to really figure it out, to let it all out. And then after that, we pick ourselves back up. We go to the gym, we start going into the routine, and we try and better ourselves after the fact. And I've just noticed that without that time to really feel it, I don't know if I can really deal with the emotions the right way. You know, I guess that's just a personal thing for me, but I really do need to feel it. Like I really do need to kind of sulk in it for a minute. And that allows me to want to pick myself back up after.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I kind of felt through with my first major breakup, was kind of like that huge intense feeling of like depression for the first time. I realized what anxiety was, because I didn't realize I had it until like all of a sudden she said that first relationship was kind of like, I need space. And then obviously I never dealt with anything like that. So I was trying to go back and fix the problem. So I was showing up to her place. I was showing up to like where she was at work, you know, being kind of like the creepo. But like, you know, I can't really do that because obviously she wants to be by herself and kind of learn that she needs to be by. But that relationship was a terrible ending, because this is the ending part of it. After 2 years of dating, I got free Clippers tickets from a family friend, and her ultimate favorite team was the Clippers. She was in love with Blake Griffin. It was back in like 2015, 2016, around that time. And I call her and I was like, hey, I have Clippers tickets if you want to go. It's supposed to be like a great date and try to get back together. I go to her place and I kind of like knock on the door, and her dad kind of opens it. And I kind of go to like where her bedroom is, and then she's like opens it, and she's in my shirt and my clothes. She's in my clothes. I'm like, oh, this is a sign she's gonna get back together with me, right? And then we had to talk about how much I miss her, all that stuff, kind of all that. And she's like, I just need to be by myself. Just please let me be by myself. I go back to my car, drive away, go to the Clippers game with somebody else. A week later, I'm with my former best friend now, in his car, and he has his phone in the ottoman. Of course, like they've been texting back and forth with each other. So I kind of like, me being the creep that I am, I kind of looked at it real quick when he got out, and they were texting nonstop back and forth. But the one text that stood out was that there was a guy behind her bedroom door when I was over at her place, and she's been dating him for 3 years.
Oh,
so that got me to the point where I was just about to flip the car over. Like I've never been so angry in my entire life, because that was a person I considered so very close to me and would never betray me, to now where that happened. So then obviously that sent me back for a very long time. And they've been together ever since. And even after sending her the flowers, she sent me that text. Obviously, I realized how evil of a person she really is.
Yeah.
Right. And so the only social media she ended up having me on was Snapchat. And she posted later that year saying, like, I'm engaged to this man now, and like all this petty stuff. So yeah, it's an evil world sometimes, but gotta just power through it. That's
also just like proof you don't need to be with someone like that.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Awful. Wow.
And I mean, it only prepares you to like, now the next time someone just simply a relationship doesn't work out,
yeah,
you know what it could be. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So when I came to this most recent one, I was like, I'm just like numb. I'm kind of like just passive. And unfortunately, with her birthday coming up next week, I'm like, man, I wish I was there for that. Like I wish I was there to kind of celebrate, because she did so much for mine that I've never had anybody ever in my entire life, just like, that wasn't my family really, to gift me all the stuff that she did, throw something at her place that she did, and care about me as much as she did, to where, like it just disappears
you want to
now.
repay it.
Yeah, you want to repay it. And that's the type of person I want to be, is I want to be like the guy that's like Ellen DeGeneres, giving stuff out like that, because that's so much fun to see the reaction to their faces. Whereas like, she kind of like, I don't think really wants to speak at all. I'm like, if I text her happy birthday, I don't want to feel the pain of her not replying or just simply saying thanks,
Right. Gosh. Okay. So you don't even know if you're going to text her.
I don't even know anymore now, because like I thought it was going to stay the same with like the whole relationship status on her profile, the pictures on the profile, the Spotify playlist, they're all there. But obviously it's showing me signs that we just both need to focus on our individuality rather than, just who we are together. Because, there's so much stuff that can go on from this point on to next year. We could both be in a different state, all this stuff that we didn't really know, and eventually it could come back. But at the same time, like,
you can't count on it.
You can't count on that. You just got to work on yourself. All my friends are pretty much saying the same thing, but some of them in harsher ways than others. They kind of just like help me out.
Both.
Yeah, you do need both. It's like a wake up call to kind of like, whoa, keep doing what I'm doing, because they're saying like I'm accomplishing so much now with what I'm doing, and obviously like it's weird. I don't know if you ever had this happen to you guys, but like when I shuffle songs on Spotify, or I do all this kind of stuff, like when I listen to, like, go to like the grocery store, I notice songs that play in the background. And always. for some reason, they always have relatable lyrics on every single time at that right exact situation. And I don't know if it's like a sign for something like that. I'm like, what is going on here?
I feel like the universe knows when you're heartbroken, because that happens every time. Like that's happened to me so much over the past 2 weeks, dude. And I'm just like, I've been to this Albertsons a million times. I've never heard this damn song. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I used to drive home from Cal State Fullerton with Everglow playing by Coldplay the entire time. Good. Yes, and that's all I played. And I'm like crying in the car on the way home. Like it's just the whole thing.
Dude.
Have you guys tried Taylor Swift?
Is unhealthy.
I just want to know. Yeah, Taylor Swift.
My sister's a diehard fan. She like practically looks like her, so obviously we're just kind of
perfect. I just want to make sure you're, feeding yourself the medicine that you need. Okay.
The Red Album, dude. That's the one. I'm telling you.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's okay. John, you get it.
So good.
I think my most favorite one right now on her most recent album is Exile with Bon Iver. Is that
good?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think we fought about I think John and I have fought about how to say his name before, and I don't know the answer. So
also didn't know that was like a band.
Is it
like
a band?
Group. Yeah, it's not even one dude.
Yeah, I can't remember the dude's name.
There's like a lead, but isn't it a group of people?
Because you're thinking like Bon Jovi, and you really think like Bon Jovi's like one guy.
Right.
Exactly.
Or it's one dude who just has a band name, How like isn't Jack's Mannequin one dude? Anyway, don't worry about it.
Like Van Halen too, especially with like Eddie and Alex. There was only 2 Van Halens in that group, besides like the Yeah, Zach, Alex and Andy, or Alex and Eddie, rather than like David Lee Roth and
Right.
Michael Anthony.
Sure.
So many things we're
Totally
unsure
know
of
so
in
much about
2020,
Van
dude.
Halen.
Learning so much.
We sure are. Well, sorry. I just scrolled down in our rundown, John. I almost spoiled my game later.
I figured.
But I figured, Brendan, while you're here, we're gonna make you talk about some stuff that we normally talk about too, if you're down.
Of course, I'm all set. Let's go do this.
All right, John, what do you want to start with?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to start with is just the most exciting thing I took from your pitches this week.
Okay.
So let me explain a little bit how this works. So we based our podcast off of our morning show that we work for, right? So Erica's in charge of pitching a bunch of stuff. We have a meeting every day and we pitch a bunch of stuff of what Ryan and the group should talk about on the show the next day. So we obviously have a bunch of content and he only gets through some of it. And then there's a bunch of stuff that we spent time pitching that never gets put on the radio show. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to take a podcast now since we have all this content and we're just going to talk about it ourselves. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So one of the things that I thought was exciting is there's these researchers in the UK and they're healthily infecting volunteers with COVID to test potential vaccines, right?
Yeah.
So they announced plans for this vaccine trial where healthy people are going to be injected with the virus. And then the participants are going to range from anywhere from 18 to 30 years old. And then they're also going to be given a vaccine to see if it works.
Sure.
So I dug into this article and I couldn't find whether or not they're getting paid. Like I couldn't find it.
Oh.
So I was just trying to think of like, what's the amount of money you would take to willfully give yourself COVID and try to give yourself a vaccine?
That's a good question. Because I would say at least 10,000 because like, it depends really. Cause I feel like I would be able to handle it. Versus like the people that are mostly affected. Yeah. So I feel like,
your life is worth more than $10,000 though.
Yeah, it's true.
So
very true.
Please raise your bar. I think that mine would be like 80,000.
Wow. See, I was going to go towards Brendan's and I was going to say 5,000 to be honest.
No, I need to be able to take a really good vacation after that. If I'm the reason that it works.
I mean, that's fair. I just feel like, here's the thing. My little sister had COVID and I feel like we have the same genes. You know, we're similar in age.
She's cooler though.
She's cooler for sure. But I feel like on a healthy scale, like we're pretty similar.
Okay.
So I feel like if she can beat it, I can beat it. You know what I mean?
That's probably the wrong mentality to have though.
I mean, I feel like it's a great mentality. I don't want to go into COVID thinking that COVID could beat me because then you're just in the wrong mentality.
Okay. That's a good
$5,000. That's a good amount.
I don't think that I'm going to die for $80,000. There's no point in that. Then they'll just take the money back. I'm saying I'm going to beat it, but then I get to go on a vacation because I'm about to help the entire world beat it.
Okay.
I would say COVID really wouldn't affect me all that much because when I get sick, it's like for a day or two and then it's out the window. Like that's really what it is. So I feel like COVID wouldn't last as long as it would with me versus like someone else who's been like, having pre-existing conditions.
Right.
You also don't drink because you're a saint. So.
Yeah, you're probably the healthiest one out of all.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He could definitely like John. I could put you on my shoulders and he'd still be able to beat us up. So
he would look down on us and still beat us up. You know,
I am a black belt in Taekwondo too. So that's
cool.
Brendan, I just want to say, like, you're the perfect dude. Like, you're gonna find love. All right, I promise. Whoever it's gonna be, like, you're a good dude.
There we go.
Also, how tall was your last girlfriend? Because that just seems complicated.
She was 6'1".
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so she was tall as well, and she really needed a tall dude as well.
Yeah, you know what used to piss me off. Go ahead.
Right. No. So I'm saying, like, with me and her together, it was literally perfect because everyone knew us as like the tall couple, and like her dad's 6'7".
Right.
So we were making jokes saying like, when it comes down the line, we eventually have kids with each other. Like we have kids. I was like, those are going to be like at least 6 foot by 10. You know,
sure.
Dude. You're having hilarious. D1 athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
My brother is 6'5", and he played college football, and his fiance is like 6'1", I think, and she played college basketball. And I'm like, these children are gonna come out like beasts, and it's gonna be awesome.
It's funny they say that because I was supposed to be 6'10" to 7'2" is what they said I was gonna be when I was 2 years old. They scanned my hand, and they kind of said like, hey, no, you'll be 6'10" to 7'2", and so we kind of custom made everything here. Like the showers custom made, the shoes as a kid was tough to do, and I mean, there's drawbacks to it, but there's also highlights to it. You know, like I've had a lot of friends who are taller than me. I had a teammate that wore a size 20 shoe, so it was impossible to find for. Pretty much, you just go to Ross.
Oh my gosh.
See, I'm glad you said that you date tall girls because this used to piss me off all the time in high school because in high school, I was short, right? I mean, I'm like 5'9" now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm decent. I'm an average height. But in high school, I was
for
not.
a man, that's a little bit short, John.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Erica,
I'm so sorry. You know what?
that's
No
fine.
judging. Live
I
your
can tell you,
life.
John.
Average for these times.
John, I can tell you, I passed your height when I was 10. So that's that was
I'm
legitimately
pissed off. No, well, in high school, I was like probably 5'4" max until senior year. So I was pretty short in high school, which you can imagine my selection of women that I could like were typically short. But the thing is, when you're tall, that's like that alone is qualifying enough for almost any girl like you. You know, like
Yes.
girls love tall dudes.
Confirmed.
And that would upset me because all the tallest guys in my school would always date the super short girls. And I was like, wait a minute, dude. There are plenty of tall girls for you to have. I have a limited selection. Will you please go date someone taller so like I can have some of these short girls?
That's so funny because I've had the opposite experience because I've had like a girl legitimately say that's just like a friend really. It's like, oh, no, he's too tall. You know, like, oh, you know, he's
Really?
just like, I've had people say that to or kind of say like 6'9" a little too much. You know, I'd say like 6'4" is when like the cutoff is for some of these people, but
I feel it.
you do what you
6
can
foot
do.
to 6'4" is the ideal, I will say, as I'm 5'8"-ish. John, I don't think you're taller than me.
I'm pretty sure I'm taller than you.
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
we'll say I'm 5'8", and that's 6 foot to 6'4". That's the sweet spot.
Well, that's neither of us. So you've
Right,
offended
so-
two guys in this podcast already.
Both
I
opposite
insult
ends of the
everyone all the
spectrum.
time. It's okay.
It's a spectrum.
Oh God. What was your final answer for the vaccine, John?
Mine
5?
was $5,000.
I'm so disappointed in you.
100%.
I'm
And honestly-
really let down by that.
There's more here that we could go into, but I feel like we're pretty close to the hour point already. So I
We
kind of
sure
feel like
are.
we should maybe just skip ahead to our last point of this podcast.
All right. Which is?
Should we just let Brennan just be
Yeah.
included in the whole thing?
Yeah, we were going to let you just play the game.
Fantastic. All right. So Brennan, one of our signature games that we like to play on this podcast is called Idiot of the Week.
It is.
So especially during these times, we're going through a rough time. You and I, Brennan, Erica's pretty much always going through a rough time. And it makes us feel better.
Excuse you. You're not wrong.
So it helps us, when we feel dumb and we feel like life's kind of going down on us, it helps us to look across the world and find other idiots in the world that are just having a worse time than us.
Mhm.
Good.
So-
Okay, cool.
This brings us to our segment, the Idiot of the Week. So I've pretty much combed the ocean of the internet, and I've tried to find 3 news articles of 3 idiots that are going through something at this very moment. Now I'm going to tell you guys all 3 stories, and you guys have to help me crown
The idiot
this
of the week.
week's Idiot of the Week.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So I'm probably going to give Brennan the final deciding factor here, but we
Yeah,
have 3
probably.
idiots. We have three idiots up for debate this week. The first one is going to be a man who was jailed after having sex with his chickens. So a man has been jailed for 3 years after having sex with his own pet chickens while his wife filmed it.
What?
I don't know how to say his name, but it's B-A-I-G, so I'm going to go Big. Big, who's 37, abused the chickens in the basement of his home that he shared with his wife, who is 38 years old, who was also featured in the footage of the abuse. The videos were recorded using a GoPro camera, and they were saved under the file Family Videos.
Ew.
After one stage, Big alternated between having intercourse with his wife and the chickens.
No,
He's
no,
now-
no, no, no. How is she not dead?
I have no idea, but he is now in prison.
Okay, good. Where's she?
Therapy, I assume.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Deep,
Can't be
deep,
anywhere
deep therapy. Okay.
Yeah, kind of a gnarly one.
I'm
Um,
disgusted.
I feel like every part of the story just got worse for me there.
Yeah,
He really choked the chicken on that one, I got to say.
yeah. Ah,
I mean,
we
just
got a
first of all,
jokester over here.
we do. Family Vids, to me, it was just the cap of the story. Family Vids,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's the going back and forth for me.
I wonder what the mindset is to really say like, man, these chickens look attractive to where they want to do that,
Right, like how
I
messed
mean-
up are you?
And like the wife to feel like she's not good enough,
Ew.
If the guy's going after chickens rather than your wife, yeah, I would
That's
just
what I
leave.
mean. That's what I mean.
New lowest bar is just like, don't let me marry someone who might like do that with a chicken.
I mean, it's a pretty good bar.
Pretty good bar.
The lowest of the low, I think.
Who's our second
second-
idiot, John?
Our second idiot is a teen who was charged as an adult in a robbery of a 7-Eleven hours after his 16th birthday. So hours after his 16th birthday ended, a Michigan teen was accused of holding up a Bay City 7-Eleven at gunpoint, threatening to kill the clerk. The problem is the teen is now charged as an adult with multiple offenses, one of which is a life sentence just because he was 16. So if this
he
dude
was
would have waited,
15?
if he would have waited a few hours before, he wouldn't have been charged as an adult.
Do you think he just wanted the Slurpees?
Yeah.
All you have to do is wait till 7-Eleven and you get free ones once a year.
Oh, I thought you meant the time. And I was like, that is not true. Do not take that advice. Also, they didn't do that this year, so maybe that's why he was pissed.
True, dude. Wait, that was some good insider information.
Thank you. Thank you.
And finally, our third idiot. A kid sets fire in an attempt to escape a room covered in feces that he was trapped in by his parents. A young child had been locked in a room that was feces covered and boarded up, where he set a mattress on fire Monday afternoon in an attempt to escape. So Kelly Davis and Daniel Davis were parents, and they were arrested on aggravated child abuse after Thursday. Oh, what am I at here? So anyways, they locked up their kid in a room for 10 or 11 hours every single night, every single time he misbehaved all summer since March. That was their punishment. They locked him in a room. He had to poop and pee in there.
Covered in poop? Oh,
covered in poop and pee. His own poop or pee. So he finally set a mattress on fire. The neighbors saw the fire, called the cops, and they finally let him out.
I don't think he's an idiot.
Do you think that kid just decided to like say, "Hey, I'm stuck in here. Let me throw my poop on the wall"? Like, I don't know what. Like, is it already covered in that? Is that what they call the poop and pee room? Like, I don't know. Like the.
This is an important question.
See, this is what I mean. Does covered mean walls? Like, or could covered just mean the floor was covered?
I think I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah, that just sounds like
this is bad.
Like the dad gets mad at him and just says, "Hey, go to the poop room." You know, it's
you got to go to the poop room. Here's my question: why is he the idiot? He's the genius for setting the fire to get neighbors alerted.
It appears you're right. I guess we could switch it around so his parents are nominated as co-idiots.
Because then, how did he have the matches and stuff? They're idiots for allowing him the access.
Whoa. This is the huge thing here. How do you set a fire in a room with just feces, pee, and a mattress?
Probably like an Eagle Scout, you know?
I don't think the Boy Scouts teach you that, but they should, clearly.
I know who I have decided is my idiot of the week.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have your three options. You have your, I don't even know how to say this, but chicken sex man.
Yeah.
Chicken sex man. You have your adult 7-Eleven robber. And you have your parents who locked their kid in the poo-poo room.
I'm going adult 7-Eleven robber.
Oh, wow.
I'm definitely going number one, the chicken sex man, because that guy needs to be evaluated. And
I think he's just deeply troubled and maybe not dumb. Well, he's probably also dumb.
Here's the thing. I looked up his picture, and he just looks exactly how I pictured him to look.
Like a
redneck?
Yeah, just a bald, angry dude.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, which could be a redneck too, you know?
What could the wife look like? That's the real question, you know?
See, it didn't show pictures of the wife. Which is probably for the best.
Do you think they were into meth? I get the feeling that they were into meth.
Definitely. There had to be some sort of drug use for them to be attracted to chickens in that way.
I hope. I
definitely hope. I definitely hope.
Okay, wait. So who's the winner? The chickens?
Listen, Brendan was our pick this week. He's our guest, so I'm just going to give him privileges. So
yes.
Chicken Sex Man is definitely this week's Idiot of the Week.
There we
go. Thank you so much for playing with us.
Yes,
of course, yeah.
And thank you for opening up with us. I mean, I feel like we really just like went in for it. We were like, "Hey, man, never met you before, but like, want to tell us your deepest, darkest secrets?"
Yeah.
So, really appreciate it. And this was, I mean, fun for me. I hope it was fun for you guys.
I actually have one last thing to ask you because I think you said something about horoscopes before.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
So she is a Scorpio, and of course, I'm a Virgo. So
Scorpios are intense, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I've heard mixed things, and I like no joke. I've never been into that sort of thing. So when I like saw her and her like pretty much emulating what it said on the list of like what Scorpio women do of like needing boundaries, time to themselves. Meanwhile, I'm by myself for like a long time, and I don't need to be. I'll go and find something rather else to be like someone to go talk to, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just what's your evaluation on that? Like,
so I don't know a ton about Virgos, which is interesting. When's your birthday?
August 29th.
Oh, my sister is a Virgo. So what's interesting is both my sister. I have one sister who's a Virgo and one who's a Scorpio. Very different people. However, Scorpio women, I think if you respect their boundaries that they set, that's like easy for them to feel like comfortable and to be happy. But they are a bit fiery. My sister who's a Scorpio is like your traditional Scorpio. She's very like, she and I will get in like really quick fights and then in 2 seconds later it's gone. That's also partially because I'm an Aries, and that's like a whole other thing. But I do think the boundaries thing is really important. But they also I'm thinking about whether or not you should text her on her birthday based on her zodiac sign.
That's why I was basically asking, like, should I reach out? Because the whole boundary issue of keeping to herself and needing her space.
When was the last time you guys spoke?
The day after she did the it was last Monday when I got the new car. She just texted me saying, so exciting, and like 3 exclamation points. And
she reached out to you.
I texted her the photo of the new car because that's something we both wanted for me to happen. So she's like, so exciting, but really it was kind of like a bland response. I kind of evaluate it that way.
Yeah.
I almost want you to call on her birthday.
I don't know. That's tough.
Have you guys not spoken on the phone at all this whole time?
Not at all. No.
Okay. Then I do think you text. John, what do you think?
See, I'm kind of torn because I feel like if you don't text, I think she knows the kind of guy you are. She knows you want to reach out. She knows you're thinking about her on her birthday. So I feel like if you don't text, she's not going to think it's a dick move. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think if you don't expect a response and you don't follow it up, I would always want to be the guy that at least said something.
I agree with
you
that.
Think about me, whatever you think, I know you need space, all that kind of stuff, but a happy birthday text is not taking away from that space.
Mm-hmm.
It's not intrusive.
That's exactly what I'm the type of person I am, the same as you, where it's like, I want to have that sort of like positive impact or something like that, rather than like not saying anything at all. I'm much rather say like happy birthday to make sure she knows I'm still thinking about her.
Exactly. Like do whatever you want with that, but this is the person I want to be. So I'm going to send you a text and leave it at that.
Yeah. And even if you say something like, I've been thinking of you, hope we can talk soon, not right now. It doesn't have to be right now. So she doesn't feel like the pressure to be like, I have to respond to this at this moment. Mm-hmm. That might be a good way to handle it.
I think it's just a happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day. I wouldn't even press it on the I want to talk thing. Cause if I want her to know that you're taking the space serious and like, you don't need to talk. You don't want that because you're doing your own thing,
But do you like somehow slide into that? Like, I know you don't feel the need to respond. No. Okay.
Then the birthday text seems like you have 2 intentions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
And to say happy birthday. And I don't think you need that. I think you just need one intention. Send her a happy birthday. Nothing else is expected. You're not trying to get anything else out of her. It's just sending her the text.
Exactly. That's what I don't want her to think I'm like, oh, this is me trying to get back this fast. Like, no, I'm just saying happy birthday to her. And then she can eventually see what I'm doing if she wants to look at it, rather than me like saying like, oh, I did all this while I'm away. Get back together. That whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
I think don't send it too early in the morning. Don't send it too late in the evening. I know that's insane, but somewhere around lunchtime.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I know it's insane.
She'll be at work all day, so I don't know. She's not going to pretty much answer because she's really busy over there. So I feel like if I just text her that, she'll just look at it and kind of say, "Oh, that's nice," and then put it away.
Great. That's perfect. I'm really glad we got to the bottom of this. And also, if any listeners, how soon is her birthday? Next week?
October 29th.
Oh. Yeah, that's next week. Okay. I panicked. If any of our listeners are Scorpio women and have been through something similar, please DM us so we can give Brendan the correct advice.
Please.
Because we need to make sure this is right. We cannot fail him. And with that, John, what's our Instagram?
I think that's it. Follow us on our Instagram at Almost On Air. Hopefully we'll be a little bit more active on there. That's my bad. But Brendan, thank you so much for sitting down with us. Dude.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You've been amazing. You've been an amazing guest. We'll have you anytime.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. And then, John, if you have any problems like with your, not saying spiral, but if you ever any like feeling like you're unmotivated, just text me, and of course we'll handle that.
He's got the videos for you.
Of course. Yeah, I got all the supplies.
Perfect.